I'm John Freese, one of 3 co-founders of Journey Gym. I'm president and CEO of the company, and our product is the world's first truly portable universal gym. And so we call it the laptop of fitness, and what that means is you can get in a little bit of workout wherever you are, whenever you want, just like you and I get a little bit of workout done on our smartphones or our laptops, wherever we are, whenever we want. I guess I'd have to say the largest hurdles that I've had to overcome as an entrepreneur is essentially constantly keeping that internal motivation going and externalizing it to my teams. In every case that I've been involved in as a co-founder, of which it's been 3 companies in the last 11 years, all of which have either been acquired or still in business, is to keep everybody going forward with that sense of perseverance and determination, regardless of what the external and internal issues are at that time. Sometimes it's a phenomenal position to be in because it's you're sort of seen as the leader or the visionary within that company, but I do think it's where the greatest emotional and mental burden comes because everyone looks to you to make sure that it's moving forward and moving forward in an exciting and scalable way. So having that wherewithal just becomes second nature has probably been the single largest hurdle that I think an entrepreneur has to learn to just make part of your business personality and part of your psyche. I would say in our first business, the thing that tripped us up the most was probably just simply a lack of understanding of how mission critical decision making was and prioritization was. I feel as though, as a first-time entrepreneur, one of the biggest benefits you have is the naivete that is inherent with just being greenfield. In parallel, though, or on the flip side of the coin, is that in turn, you will often make decisions in a sometimes either slow process or fashion, or in some cases, in too quickly of a fashion or process. And in turn, you don't quite really internalize or know the ramifications of those decisions as well as you do the second or third time around. I think this is true in any element of life, but definitely in the startup world. I mean, there is no question that if you give $1 million to 3 different entrepreneurs with the exact same product, serving the exact same markets, the outcomes will be dramatically different. And I think the primary differentiator outside of just who they are as people or their level of determination comes down to decision making and appropriate decision making. I'm completely biased here. I believe personally that peer mentoring is the missing link in entrepreneurship. Whether you have a phenomenal network, a high level of personal net worth, or even if you have a ton of domain expertise, I think all of those pale in comparison to the peer mentoring network that you build. I happen to be in a part of a group called Startups, and for me, it has been the make or break with our first business. I don't believe we would have sold our first business, which we made a great return for our investors, had a really positive exit. And I don't think I would have been as excited to start Journey Gym had we not had that network of peers. For me, that is the number one thing, a completely confidential, pure, no ulterior motive based, completely free group of founders sitting down, sharing their insights, their resources, and their feedback, where you can literally walk in and say, listen guys, here's where I'm at. Here's the challenges I'm facing, or here's the successes I've just had. If everyone in that room then in turn has your greatest success and only the best for you in mind, the power of that is exponential. And as you know, about 40% of startups fail in the first year, 80% by year 5, and then about 2% every year thereafter. We've experienced in this group, and I'm not trying to promote the group, I'm simply saying we've experienced in the group the exact opposite, with about 85% of our members not going out of business, and the vast majority reaching profitability, and a lot of them getting acquired. And it is, hands down, for me, the one thing that most entrepreneurs don't have access to that they need to have access to. They need to start their own peer mentoring group, or join one that exists today in their area. I think the enormous challenge that we're facing as a company right now, to be completely candid, is that our product is now here. It's been distributed into 5 or 6 countries. We have actual users across the globe using it, and it's go time. So the reality is at this moment, people will start to really get a sense of how we're ramping financially, from an infrastructure perspective, Are we truly a viable candidate for a suitor in the next 12 to 18 months, or is it 36 to 48 months out? I mean, all of those things now can be plotted on a graph based on the adoption of the product, the top line revenues, and things of that nature. So as you know, once you get to market and once you actually become a revenue generating business versus what I think a lot of people call concept businesses or lifestyle businesses, that's when the rubber hits the road. So the heat is on. I'm excited for it. I think we've had great success thus far, but as you know, it's the proof is now in the pudding. You're not selling the vision as much as you are simply selling the solution, and that's where we're at. So we're right on that edge, and it's an exciting time. So longer days, but at the end of each day, you can actually run the credit card transactions through and see that there's some positive numbers coming into the bank account, which is a phenomenal place to be at. So I'd say that's the abyss we're at today. I'd have to say, to be totally honest, my wife and God, I feel as though I think when you're in your 20s, you're really getting a sense of who you are and why you're here. I think it becomes, at least for a lot of people that I've spoken to on this topic, in your 30s becomes hopefully abundantly clear. Unfortunately, I think some people haven't had the chance to sort of discover that for themselves, even in their 30s or 40s of their entire lifetime. But I know that I'm supposed to be an entrepreneur, and I know that I'm supposed to help be a part of businesses that solve real social problems and provide real solutions. And so I've been fortunate to have been introduced to that through my brother with my first business, and I feel like that's my God-given purpose in this life. My wife fortunately supports me in that. As you well know, it can be a bumpy road. There's not only the emotional highs and lows and the energetic highs and lows, but the financial highs and lows can be very, very extreme. But in the end, if you know that's what you're supposed to be doing every day, it's just absolutely exhilarating. And to me, it's up there with being a father, being a husband. I personally believe that one of the fastest ways to change the world is to build a for-profit business that tackles a particular issue and simply does it better and more efficiently and in a more authentic fashion. So for me, that's it, God and my wife. Who inspires me? I mean, I can say all the cliche names, I just mentioned God and my wife as the ones that support me the most and are the reasons that I do what I do. I'd say from an inspirational perspective, purely from a business stance, I honestly don't read Inc. and Entrepreneur and Wired and say, I want to be that guy or that girl. There's definitely inspiration within them. What I find more inspiring are founders of new startups that I think are doing something extremely audacious and who are what I would call pure in their intentions. Whether that be monetary or whether that be social is fine. But they just are so succinct and pure in what they're trying to accomplish. And they bring a sense of empowerment to everyone that they're around because they're going for it. They're just absolutely going for it. And I think in today's world, there's just not enough of that. I think, as you well know and you've experienced, a lot of people tend to come from a position of naysaying just to sort of protect themselves. And they'll naysayer because it's difficult to see people around you succeed, I think, for a lot of people. But when you can meet a young guy or gal that says, this is what I'm doing and this is what I'm going to put my life into, at least my career life, if not my entire being in many respects, for me, that's what's inspiring. And I love meeting those types of people and, just interacting at business events or having a coffee with them or just meeting them at a dinner function and just walking away and saying, that guy or gal's going to make it, and I would do anything in my power to help them get there. To me, that is the future, and those people are rare, and they're like a fire in a bottle, So that's it for me personally. That particular archetype, that person, and don't become friends with them, but at least want to absorb a little bit of the positive out of it, So anyway.